February 2nd, 2017. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 119 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting across from me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
So how'd you do in that poker tournament we went to?
Well, like I said, I was going to make the final table, and I did. The only problem was I was the dealer on the final table.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay.
I wasn't a player. I just dealing the cards.
You did deal for most of that. Well, yeah. I made the final table for real.
Yeah.
And I ended up cashing in fifth place, just into the money. So at least I got some of my money back plus a little bit.
I think there were about 40 people there.
That sounds about right, because he started with 4 tables that weren't completely full, but 4 tables,
I'm not sure where I went out. I didn't really check that, but I want to say I was like around 17, 18, somewhere around there. Many. And I was happy the way I went out.
Yeah, sometimes, you need to get the cards. You need luck, and even if you play perfect.
I went in with a great hand, a good hand, and lost to someone who had a better hand. Just turned out they had a better hand. Yeah. So, I was not unhappy with my play at all.
Yeah, I'm the same way. It was the final 5, and the way that he structures it is towards the end of the tournament, the blinds really start moving.
They go fast, yeah.
So, at the end, you've really got to make a move, and I had an ace rag, and an ace came on the flop, and so I was all in. Half my money, I think, was in a blind or something. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, most of your money was in a blind.
And somebody else had an ace with a better kicker, and that's how I went out. So, that's
you can't do anything about that.
Yeah, another good tournament, though, as always.
Yeah, it was very good.
And then another thing we talked about last time, too, our buddy Ed made that hard 6 wager over at Borgata.
Yeah, what time did they do that?
Oh,
because when you emailed me, it was like 8:30 or 9:30 here. So I'm thinking that's like, 11 o'clock at night.
Well, that's probably when I first saw the message. I didn't get it and then immediately contact you. So
you didn't?
Well,
that's...
I
was waiting all day.
I must have done something else. Meanwhile, I'm texting you all day about the horses that I'm betting on for us.
Right. Every few minutes, the phone's beeping. I'm trying to nap, and the phone's beeping. We've got Little Sue in the third for $10.
But anyway, it was a loser. Easy 6 came up.
So not a 7 out.
No, not a 7 out.
Just an easy 6.
Ed was saying the shooter shot for about 6 minutes, so that's not bad if the dice are moving pretty quickly. That's okay. Maybe next time.
Well, Ed, why wasn't Ed hopping the easy 6s to keep it alive?
Well, you need to host a class. You need to teach a class on how to do that.
Yeah, $40 should have covered it. $40 on the easy 6 every roll.
Well, speaking of stupid betting and what that leads to, we had a meetup with a couple of listeners last week. Andrew, who you had met in Vegas,
Las Vegas
previously,
right? Yeah.
And then our friend David, who often comes down to Harrah's, lives up in they came, and Andrew did great. He actually ended up winning for the night.
It was so crazy because... Andrew came to the table not long after we got there. Mm-hmm. There were maybe 3 shooters before he got there.
Mm-hmm.
And when he left at the end of the night, he had...
I think he doubled his money, at least.
Tripled.
Yeah.
He had tripled his money, I believe. Yeah. And we were down.
Well,
you and I are both down. Now, me being down is not that interesting because, I'm making a lot of weird bets, and Andrew was pretty, he
was conservative.
He was conservative, and he was playing smart. Mm-hmm. But you usually play that way, too, but you were down for some reason.
I know. It was just kind of the way that it went. And,
and also, he hit a few hard ways.
Yeah, which I was not on. And he had good timing on that.
Right, he had good timing. He was, it was a $25 table that we ended up on.
Yeah.
And you have to make $5 hard way. Well, he just wanted to put $3 or $4. So he was giving me money, and
you combined your bet. We talked about it. It's a good way to do it if you're at a table where the minimums are a little too high for you.
Right, and I was going to bet the max anyway, so we combined our bets, and he did hit a few, and he collected them all. He never parlayed me. And so I think, seriously, that helped him a lot.
Well, and he left at a good time, too, because we actually were making a good comeback about the time he left, and then after he left, it was terrible.
It was not as good.
Yeah, we needed another win. I know we had that...
we were up and down. It wasn't a bad night. It just was not...
Okay, maybe through the night, but ultimately it was a bad night. It was one of my worst losses, right?
It was a bad night for you.
But, we hit that fire bet a little while ago, and then since that, it's just been miserable. So, all right, let's move on. We won't talk about it anymore. But anyway, it was nice to meet you, Andrew. I think it sounded like Andrew was going to go to 360 Vegas Vacation 4 coming up here, so we'll see him
Well,
again
he's going to be living in
that's right. That's right. They put a,
He's going to be living, so chances are we'll see him at RenCon
all right.
at some point.
So in the last episode, we were explaining how kills work in poker.
Right.
If you win 2 pots in a row and you're at a game that's playing a kill game, then the next round is double the minimum. So if you're like at a 3-6 game down here and somebody wins 2 pots in a row, then the next hand is going to be 6-12.
Right.
And the killer has to put out this kill blind.
Right.
Ahead of time. Well, Mark up in Canada was saying that it works a little bit different up there. Now, at the Brantford Casino in Ontario, they have a 2-5 limit game. So that means that the first 2 rounds, it's a $2 bet, and then the last 2 rounds, it's a $5 bet, right? So whenever a player wins a pot of $50 or more, the next hand is a kill at 5-10.
Okay.
So the killer doesn't have to win 2 pots in a row, just any pot that's $50 or more.
Right. Interesting. They go to 5-10.
Well, it's kind of double. I mean, it's a 2-5. We don't really see 2-5 games down here. We'll see like 2-4 or 3-6 or something like So, but anyway, the killer has to put out a kill blind. Since it's 5-10 now, he would put out a kill blind of $5. And here's the real difference: he is not last to act on that first round.
So he has no advantage. It's just he plays his regular position.
He has no advantage on that first round. Right, exactly. Yeah, see, that's the thing. When you kill it, you don't really want to kill a game because you're putting out a forced blind there, when you don't necessarily have to. Yeah. And so that's a disadvantage, but at least you're down here anyway, you're last to act on that first round, so there is a bit of an advantage. Yeah. So no, if you are the killer and middle position, action comes to you, you either check or fold to a raise or raise yourself. So not all the tables are kill tables. So a lot of times down here, you go into a casino and all the limit games are kill games.
Right.
But Mark was saying, at least at Brantford, that if you don't want to sit in on a kill game, you don't have to. You can do a non-kill game. So
which is good. They should have that in most casinos.
It's to get more action, but it's not like the casino really benefits more from it because they're generally taking the same rate. I shouldn't say that. It really depends on how their rake works.
Right.
But if it's a flat rate, like a lot of places are around here, the kill really doesn't do anything.
Matter
they're taking out the same thing. Right. But anyway.
Well, it's probably just to keep interest in the players because players like
some players do like. We've talked about it. We like kill games.
We like kill games.
But not everybody does, of course. Also, last episode, listener Brian was asking if there were any shoot-to-win craps machines here in California. We didn't know of any.
We have not seen any.
We've not seen any, but according to listener Jay, they have it at Pechanga, which we've been to before, but we never saw it up there. It's been a while since we've been there. So.
Well, yeah, and it might have been...
Well, it could have been anywhere.
We were at the crap pit, right? It probably wasn't at the crap pit.
It's the biggest casino in California, so
it was probably just somewhere off in some corner.
And then Jay also said that they have a different craps machine, not a shoot to win, but something similar at Fantasy Springs Casino.
What's that like? Similar.
Oh, well, I mean, it's just not shoot to win. It's not that brand, shoot to win craps,
I got
right?
You.
But
just a different
brand. But it's still a mechanical one that bounces
the dice in the middle.
Yes, exactly.
You know what they should have? They should have a machine with just like a person in there. Like a small little lady or something.
Okay.
And she has dice. And she just throws them up in the air and they land on some platform or something.
As long as it's a machine. Do you think she'd be like on a little trampoline?
Yeah.
She'd be holding the dice and then the trampoline would start to bounce and she'd get higher and higher and finally she'd just let go and that'd be it.
That'd be the roll.
Right. Yeah, that'd be the roll.
I'd like that.
I would too. I think that opens itself up to cheating though.
Yeah,
I think she'd
there could be some problems.
Just turns it right at the last minute. Right. Oh, 7. Winner, frontline winner, 7.
She kicks them with her foot.
Now, speaking of these shoot-to-win craps machines, or more generally, these mechanical craps machines.
Right.
Here's some news. A lawsuit has been filed against a company called Interblock, which manufactures an electronic craps game. Again, not shoot-to-win, but similar. This lawsuit is against them as well as against the Isle Casino and Racing in Florida. Apparently, these machines were overcharging players on buy bets. So when you make a buy bet on like a 4 or 10, the casino is supposed to charge you 5% on your wager. So typically, if you bet $20 to buy the 4, they'll charge you $1 because that's 5% of $20.
Right.
And if it wins, it pays 2 to 1, it'll pay $40.
Correct.
But these machines were charging 5% on the winnings.
So they're charging you 5% on $40.
Yes, which is $2, right? Which works out to 10% of your initial wager.
Bet. Sure.
And that's not the way it's supposed to be. So this lawsuit has come out. I'm guessing that it's somebody who engineered the game just really didn't know the game.
Right. Probably didn't play craps.
Yeah. Right.
And just had no idea. Thought, oh, okay, well, they want 5%. Okay, 5%. They're going to win $40.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it was just reading about craps as opposed to actually playing the game and getting to know every bet. But
don't you think it'd be better to get a guy to design it who actually knew the game?
Well, we talked about it even on these shoot to win craps games. Remember, I can't even remember the specifics. We talked about it before. There were so many numbers, but it wasn't like playing at a real table. You could buy the 5 and 9 and the percentage that was coming up.
Right.
I don't know if it was similar to this, but
you could do things that you couldn't do at a real craps game just because the math is too confusing.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, we'll see what happens with that. The lawsuit just came out.
When we were talking, when I was joking about somebody inside the machine to roll the dice, were you on that trip to Silver City when I won some drawing and I had to get inside one of those machines?
You've told me about it, but I wasn't there.
Oh, God.
Was it one of those cash machines that's flying all around? It was one of those
cash machines with all the cash flying around. And I don't know, I got, it was mostly filled with 1s and 5s and stuff, but I got like $180, $200, something like that.
Really? That much?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There were $100 bills in there. There's just a few of them, right?
Right.
But there's mostly just 5s and 20s. And, I was just grabbing cash and you couldn't put it in your pockets.
You had to keep holding on to it.
So you're trying to grab it and, sometimes you'd lose one while you were trying to grab another. And then it was like an hour or two later, Paul got picked.
Now, how did you get picked?
It was just some drawing they were having at the casino of all the people playing. Like we were playing blackjack.
Yeah.
And it was like the whole pit, like, okay, table 3, seat 4.
Oh, okay. And just random.
Random like that. So, but the cash machine was in the middle of this big pit on a platform.
Yeah.
So there's steps I had to walk up and, everyone's staring at you. It's and they put this like jumpsuit on you, this white jumpsuit.
Yeah.
So you couldn't get to your clothes or hide stuff or whatever. Yeah. And big goggles to protect your eyes.
I wish we had video. I wish it was pre-cell phone. So, my gosh.
I felt... Of course, I didn't see myself, but I felt weird doing it. But when I saw Paul, I laughed forever.
I'll bet. I wish I had video of that.
Because just him in there was funny, but him in that garb with these big goggles and stuff.
Oh, man, that's great. I wish I could have seen that.
I don't even think cell phones were around then.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think maybe I had one in my car that was tethered to my car, but it certainly didn't have a camera on it, so that would have been nice. Hey, we got an email from Joe from Maryland. I'm just going to read here. So I was at Horseshoe in Baltimore last weekend and had probably the worst craps night of my life. Yeah, I know what that's like.
It could be every other week.
I had a bankroll of $400 for the night and I couldn't win to save my life. I was playing the minimum and only playing small pass line bets with odds. My $400 was gone in 45 minutes. I seriously didn't have a winning hand the entire time. So the question is, do you think I should have been able to get any comps out of it? I know I was only playing for 45 minutes, but $400 is a good amount of money to at least get a meal. When I asked the pit boss, she told me she couldn't. Just curious on what you guys think. Thanks. It's really going to depend on the casino and the policy. And
if they're smart, they give you a meal.
I think so. If it's that quick, and obviously things have been going bad,
right? But you lost $400, and it was quick. And if they were paying attention, it's not that big a deal to give you a meal.
I agree. Now, some pit bosses, though, don't have the discretion to do that.
Right. In some casinos, they don't let the pit boss do that. Right. It's solely based on rewards and some formula that they have. And so if you don't qualify, you don't qualify.
Right. And a lot of times your comps are based not on how much you lost, but on what your theoretical loss would be.
Right.
So over a 45-minute period, again, if you're just making small pass line bet and odds, maybe your theoretical loss for that 45 minutes is a couple of dollars.
Right.
Yeah,
it could be.
You got unlucky and lost 400, but it might not only be a little bit. And so that might have been the case here is, now, I don't know. Does she know you? Are you a regular? That's the other thing, too.
Right.
A lot of times, just if they know you, maybe they'll cut you some slack.
If they know you and they know you're coming back the next day or later that day, you're going to, you'll go eat and you'll go get some more money and come back and play. Sure, they'll give you a comp.
Yeah.
But if they don't know you, they might just assume,
maybe not. This kind of goes back to what we've talked about before about being a courteous player at the table, because that can also make a difference.
Sure.
I think one of the things pit bosses worry about is the player who comes up obviously wanting a comp right away, and maybe throws around, some $100 bills and then makes a couple of silly bets, and then, hey, can I get a meal? Obviously, this isn't what happened with Joe,
right?
But that's the kind of thing that they're wary of. They do have that in the
back of their mind, yeah.
So
I think all casinos, though, seriously, when we own our casino, we're going to give meals out.
Yeah.
I mean, not if a guy comes up and makes 3 silly bets and cashes out, but a guy loses $400. Yeah, I'm going to give him a $30 meal.
Yeah. Again, it could just be this pit boss just did not have the discretion to do it.
And I think that's probably, if I had to guess, that'd probably be the case.
Yeah. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link at the top of the page. All right, let's jump to our voicemail hotline. Remember, call our hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
And maybe we'll play your clip on the show. First up is Jimmy.
Hey guys, Jimmy from Chicago calling again. I was out in Vegas again for the college football championship game. We went to Excalibur again and did not disappoint. The $10 horse bet for a drink still holds true. And I did play some craps over there. I usually don't play, but listening from the podcast, I decided to. And 2 shooters in a row hit the all small tall. And they said that rarely happens.
Yeah.
And I happened to be on it both times only for $1. So each time it hit, it paid $2.10. I don't know if that's in relation to other places, but it was 30 for the all small and the all tall, and then if you hit them all, I think it was 150 to 1. But yeah, another good trip, and thanks guys. Bye.
Good. Congratulations, Jimmy. Yeah, those are those lower payouts.
Right, because it should be 176 to 1 for all
176 for 1, 175 to 1. But they've reduced it, and 35 for 1 for the others. So, it's too bad they've reduced it, but at least he won. 2 in a row. That's amazing.
Now, we did that. That's what we did at...
was it 2 shooters in a row? Because it was you and me. Yeah, that's right. I remember not being on it. So, that's right.
I don't know why you weren't.
But
that is very difficult to do.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean,
absolutely.
Now, we did it, and we've heard that he did it, so we may never see that again.
Maybe not. No, maybe not. But again, it's a lot easier to do than, say, a 6-point fire. So,
by the way,
we've seen a couple of those.
This is something you don't know yet.
All right.
My dad and brother and mom went Sunday night out to Harris Rincon after we were there Friday. Well, right before they got there, one of the tables, the $15 table, hit all 6 on the fire. And there were only 2 players on it.
Yeah.
And they both had just $5.
Okay, right.
But
nothing for the dealers?
Nothing for the dealers.
Yeah.
and it's just 2 players, and one of them was an older guy that we know. I'll tell you later who it is. But he was the one telling my dad he was tickled to death. Yeah. But it's funny. 2 people. My dad said the other 3 tables are packed. That table, for some reason, 2 people.
And that's
and hits all 6.
Yeah. Oh, that's craps for you. Oh, we got a call from Adam. I think Adam has his own show and website. I think it's called Vegas Funbags. Anyway, he sent us a message.
Hey guys, Adam from Detroit here. First, I wanted to congratulate you for winning the Vegas Tripping Editor's Choice for Best Podcast. Now, what I think your listeners should know is that you actually tied in that award with another show. And I think they should just be aware that there are 2 of you, and the show that you tied with, there's only 1 of them. So people can make that, make of that what they will. But I just wanted to put that out there. But anyway, congratulations on winning that. Very well deserved. In your last couple episodes, you had been mentioning poker and talking about maybe getting started finally with casino poker, taking people from maybe a home game to kind of the live version. And you had said that 2-4 limit is probably a good place to start. I completely agree with you on that. If people are looking to play in Las Vegas at the 2-4 limit structure, there is one room that I know consistently offers that, and that is Flamingo. It's a pretty good game there, and they offer it pretty much perpetually. And it's the only room that I think does that. I know I've seen Golden Nugget run it occasionally, but it's really, really hard to find. One question I had for you guys is, with all the paid parking stuff that's going on here, do you think that we're going to see more and more poker rooms shutter? We've got a couple of the big ones like Aria, Bellagio. Those are always going to have a lot of players going there, I think. But these smaller rooms, I'm thinking like Luxor, Excalibur, rooms like that where maybe it doesn't get a lot of normal traffic. do we think maybe some of these rooms just shut down because there's just not going to be enough players that are willing to go pay for parking and try and maybe, earn free parking through their consistent play? Would love to know what you guys think. As always, enjoy the show. Hope I see you guys out in Vegas again soon.
Yeah, that's a good question. I wonder how many locals drive to the Strip to play poker to basically fleece the tourists.
Right. Well, if they're good enough at it, if they're a good enough poker player and they're going to, say, a smaller casino and they're playing poker, do you think parking would be something that would worry them?
Again, it depends on what kind of tier status they can get by just playing poker.
It doesn't go fast.
Casinos don't often reward poker players very much because they're not making a lot of money off of them.
But if they're good enough and they win consistently, let's say you go and you pretty much can guarantee yourself a $75 to $100 win every day by playing 4 or 5 hours of poker, then, would the $10 parking bother you or something?
That's a good question. Because a lot of the locals are having to pay for parking now, and I guess it really depends. It depends on how much money they can make at a strip casino as opposed to a local casino.
Right.
Now, I imagine if they go to their local casinos, they're saying
there's no parking fee.
There's no parking fee, but they're seeing the same people over and over again.
Right, which is what they don't want.
They might not want that. Maybe it would work for, a lot of times they're just tossing money back and forth and the casino's the only one who's really winning. But if these locals are really making more money at strip poker rooms because the tourists, I wouldn't think parking would be that big a deal.
Poker rooms
for them,
on the strip.
Yeah.
Not strip poker rooms.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Poker rooms on the strip. Well, who knows, too, if they're locals, maybe they can just have somebody drop them off. Right.
Or take a bus.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a lot of transportation avenues there.
And my feeling would be that as far as the parking fees go, that it would not affect the poker rooms.
I would say no.
But the waning interest in poker, which I don't know if that's really fair. I don't know if it's waning. It's probably leveled off.
Right.
But it certainly not at the peak that it used to be.
I think it's waning among younger people.
That could be.
It's probably leveled off among middle-aged and older people.
That could be because a lot of younger people are not being exposed to poker like younger people were about 10 years ago.
Right.
College students and people in their 20s, they were playing online. That's how they learned it.
Right.
And now that's not possible, at least in the United States, for younger people. So I think that would affect
my nephews,
poker.
I asked them about poker at the universities that they attend. Nothing. There's really no, it's not a big deal anymore.
Yeah.
As far as the trippies go, though, I think, Adam made a good point because we have a quarter each of a Trippy award.
Yeah, that's right.
And that guy on the other podcast, he's got half.
So he's got half. Yeah. So congratulations to whoever. I didn't even see who won the other half.
But I'll tell you what, I've heard he does deserve half.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who'd you hear this from?
From him.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Let's move on. All right. Next call.
Hey guys, just coming back from the casino property here in Lawrenceburg, about 30 minutes outside of Cincinnati. Nothing too special to write home about, but $5 blackjack and craps tables, so I like to hit them up when I'm not looking to completely break the bank. Anyways, hit the craps table for a little bit, and then I decided I'd play a little bit of blackjack, and while I was there, the fellow sitting next to me, he had a pair of fours against the dealer's ace. And to my surprise, after I stayed on, I think, my 17, he went in and split those fours. So I was just curious, what's the craziest thing you've seen just in terms of like a negative EV bet that you've seen a player make either knowingly or unknowingly? I mean, sometimes I've been at a table and I've seen a player double down on a 12 against a 3 or something like that. But I was just curious, what's the craziest thing you've seen somebody do at the table? Thanks. Love the show.
All right. I'm going to go first because this is one of my favorite stories. I think it was the old Sands. And there was a woman playing blackjack at our table. And she was dealt a pair of aces. I don't remember what the dealer had, but it's not going to matter. She had a pair of aces. She did not split. Instead, she took a hit.
Okay.
She got a 4, and then she stayed. So, pair of aces, didn't split, got a 4, now has a soft 16 and stayed.
Yeah. And what happened?
I don't remember what happened. I think I left the table. I can't remember.
You got to know what happened.
I don't remember what happened. I really don't.
If she won, she'd tell you she knew that would happen, right?
It's funny. I was just so shocked. I don't remember exactly what happened. Let's just say she lost because that's what she should have done.
That's what should have happened.
That's my answer.
Well, for me, not really blackjack, but at craps.
Yeah.
My wife and I were at a table once, and I want to say it was at Mirage, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
It was one of the bigger strip casinos at the time. This is quite a few years back.
Yeah.
But we saw a guy go through $200,000+ in about 3 minutes.
Really? 3
Yes,
minutes?
in about 3 minutes.
Well, what did he do?
Well, he bought in for a couple $100,000, and he was placing all the numbers on the come out. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I assume this was a marker. He didn't come with 200,000.
No, he got a marker.
Yeah.
And they gave him his chips, and then he placed all the numbers. I don't remember the amounts.
Okay.
But enough to go through a couple $100,000 in a few minutes.
So he basically put all his money out there, is what you're saying.
Most of it.
Okay,
I think he put half of it the first roll and half
Okay.
of it the second roll.
Oh, okay.
And had him working, and it was come out 7, come out 7.
Oh, so it wasn't even a 0.7. It's
No.
just he was working on the come out.
He was
roll
working on the come out, put 100,000 out on all the numbers, covered them all, 7. Okay, puts it all out there again, 7.
Oh, amazing.
And then he got some more money, and then my wife couldn't take it. We were like, "Oh my god!" And we just left. But yeah, he blew through that so
Wow,
fast.
I've never seen that much.
Now that's
money
a
on the
negative
table.
EV because you're putting all that money on the come out. And,
Well, now, Mike, don't say that. It's negative EV whether it's the come out or not.
Right? Okay, yeah, I should say that.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty risky way to play. Let's put it that way.
Well, it is, but I mean, look at how many people, after the come out roll, give me 54 across.
Right.
I mean, it's the
Yeah,
same
it's no
thing. There's no
difference.
difference.
There's no
right?
difference.
But when you're talking those sums of money,
Yeah, that's sums of money. I mean, he obviously had the money.
Sure.
Right?
Well, he's got he's got a line
he
of
can
credit
get a marker for
yeah.
$200,000.
Yeah.
But it was sickening. I mean, because, we're sitting there thinking, God, just give me 50,000, right?
Well,
and I'll yell 7 and you'll lose.
I think that when I'm just playing with you at the table, when the dealers are dropping, $500-$600 on some bet, it's like, well, give some to me, Mike.
Right. The other night we had a bunch of hard ways for them. Yeah.
It was nice. All right.
I did make some hard way bets for you last week.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And
Thank you for doing that.
hit.
Sometimes I didn't realize you were doing it. But it's like, I'll put it on the shooter. No, I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, let's hear from our buddy Todd.
Hey guys, it's the Math Nerd from Minnesota. So the Super Bowl is coming up, which means prop bets. Tons and tons of prop bets. I just love looking through all the prop bets that are out there. Some of the wackier ones like the coin toss, color of the Gatorade, length of the national anthem, how many times they show Giselle on TV. I guess we all cheer for the over on that one. But anyway, a while back, my wife asked me what makes it a prop bet. And I couldn't really come up with a good answer. At first I said it was anything with a high payout because I was thinking of, big surprise, a craps table. And pretty much everyone agrees that the prop bets are all the junk in the middle that pays out really high, like the hardways, the horn, hot bets. But many of the Super Bowl and sports prop bets are over-unders, which, generally are the normal even money or minus 110, minus 115. So that's not really a high payout. Then I said it's really anything that's not the normal winner of the game, like a normal money line bet or a point spread bet. I guess I'm not really sure that's correct either. So do you guys have an official definition of what makes a bet a prop bet? Just wondering. Anyway, love the show. Later.
Obviously, you're going to get a lot of different answers from different people.
Yeah, that's a hard question to answer.
I would define it this way, that a prop bet is any bet that is not tied to the outcome of the game that you're playing.
Okay.
Okay,
So that
so-
makes a lot of sense for sports.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know how much sense it makes in craps.
Well, okay, but with craps, it's the game is a point's been established and you're trying to make it. So
right.
prop bets are anything that's not related. Like a field bet might even be a prop bet in that situation.
Right.
But again, this is where it kind of becomes a broad.
Placing the 8 would be a prop bet. And if your point was 6.
Yeah, maybe
right?
you're right. But I'm looking at it this way. Like, let's say we're playing Texas Hold'em. You and I are at a table. And we just, between the two of us, hey, I'll bet you that the turn card is red.
Right.
And you'll say, "Oh, I'll take that
That's
bet."
a prop bet.
That's a prop bet
That would
because
be a
it
good
has nothing to
definition.
do with the outcome of the poker game that
Right.
you're playing. Right?
And I think in sports betting, like especially the Super Bowl, that is very true. Because
Yes.
what we call prop bets are usually bets that, like, what color the Gatorade is.
Yes,
has
right.
nothing to do with the
Has
outcome
nothing
of the
to do with
game.
the outcome of the
It's
game.
just another thing to bet on, right?
So when you're betting on teams, point spreads, or money lines, that's not a prop bet because ultimately, the end of the game, the score of the
Right.
game. I would even say that the over-under on the score is not a prop bet because, again, it has something to do with the end of the game.
Right.
But, how many yards is a certain player going to get in a game,
Right.
something
Who's
like
gonna
that.
have the most catches?
Ultimately that, that might help them win, but it doesn't really have anything to do with ultimately, the end of the game.
Right.
So that's what I would say. And, prop bet, side bet, are those interchangeable? I don't know.
That's the
It's
semantics.
right. So it's just semantics, right? So, a prop bet at a blackjack table, there's some side bet you make. That's a prop bet.
Right.
I think that's a pretty good definition.
Yeah, well, like you're
is,
playing 3-card poker and there's a side bet for your cards and the dealer's cards.
Right.
Do you call that a prop bet?
I would
Or
say
side bet.
I would say both,
Yeah.
only because you're playing this game where the 3-card hands, are trying to beat each other. But then you can make like a 5-card, 6-card straight by
combining
combining.
your
That has
hands.
nothing to do with the game, right?
Right,
So
yeah.
that's what I would call a prop bet. I think
It's a
that's
good
a
definition.
pretty good definition. And then, of course, people are going to have their own opinions
Yeah.
on it.
Well, we're going to
And
go with yours. And
Okay.
then someone will call and correct us with
Yeah.
the right answer.
Now, we were talking about Super Bowl prop bets.
Yes.
The one that you liked, and this is one that caught my eye
Okay, now
too.
this is the one that I think if I'm going to make a prop bet, I would probably bet on.
Yeah. Now, one of the best prop bets you can make is that there will be no safety.
Right.
But unfortunately, there have been a lot of safeties recently in a lot of Super
For
Bowls.
years, there weren't.
So we're not saying that's actually a good bet, and you can look at stats and say it's a good bet. We're not saying that this is a good bet, but this might be a fun bet that you and I would make.
That you would make a little better than
It's
even money.
It's the bet that a kick or a punt, will be blocked.
Right.
It'd be a punt rather than some other kind of kick, but
Well,
it could be a
extra
field goal.
points.
It could be or an
Field
extra
goal
point.
or an
That's
extra
true. Yeah,
point.
I shouldn't have qualified that. Will a kick or a punt be blocked?
Yeah.
And it's 12-1, which is probably too low. It should probably be a lot higher.
Yeah, but this year there have been so many blocked field goals because now they let him jump over.
That's right, as long as they're not
the
touching.
line, as long
Yeah.
as you don't touch him.
Yeah.
So there have been a lot of blocked kicks and extra points and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I think I'd take that 12-1.
Yeah.
I think that's
All
a
right,
pretty good bet.
So again, this is just our opinion. We're not saying go out and make this bet because we have no way of knowing that it's good. It's probably not a good bet at those odds, but
Right.
that'd be a fun
Well, I
bet to
gave
make.
you a list of 3. That was my number 1 pick. That was my serious pick.
and I looked at that too, and I thought that's one I'd like
And
to.
the
That
other
caught
one
my
was
eye.
a fullback scoring a touchdown,
Uh-huh.
which I kind of like that.
All right.
Because, if somebody gets close, a receiver catches a long pass, gets tackled on the 1-yard line, they hand it to the fullback a lot.
Yeah, but that's boring.
It's boring, but it's
a blocked
probably
kick, that's
it's probably
exciting.
something that could win. And then,
Could be.
if I had $5 I wanted to waste, I'd take that 5,000-1 that Bill Belichick's going to host Saturday Night
Oh yeah,
Live.
that was one of 5,000-1. I'll take that.
I'll tell you what, that is way too low. You could give 100,000-1. And the casino would still win money on that bet.
the casinos have learned after that soccer thing in Great Britain, right?
Right.
So
Believe me, Bill Belichick is never going to be
Nope.
the host of Saturday
never going
Night
to.
Live.
I'd love to see it.
I'd love to see that too.
Oh my
I
gosh.
don't know that he could get a few words together. Yeah. Oh, that would be terrible. But the prop bets are fun.
Oh, they're fun. That's all
You
it
know,
is.
and
yeah.
they- yeah,
Unless you
you
really have some information to go
Right.
by. That's right.
I've always wondered, like some of them, okay, so Todd mentioned how long the national anthem is. Well, the person singing it, couldn't they just tell their buddy, hey, bet on that national anthem being over 2 minutes and I'll make sure it gets
Yeah,
over,
that's fine, but no book is going to take some huge wager on something
Right,
like that,
that's
right?
true.
I'm sure there's
I got $1 million.
$1 no bet.
A Benny Binion would take it.
I don't know. I don't know if he'd take a bet like that. He'd probably think that's stupid. That's not gambling. Move along. All right, let's hear from Tom.
Hey guys, Tom from North Carolina. I guess it was about this time last year I called in, and that was a trip report to MGM Grand Detroit. Well, I made another trip to the auto show and had another opportunity to play at the MGM, and including the locally famous Golden Dice Challenge. Did not make any money on that or really anything else there. I would say, though, that if you'd like a fast game, that is a great place to go. Very professional crews and very attentive. Sometimes some more friendly than others, but around the board, very, very skilled for sure. Other than that, just thought I'd share also, I went to Pechanga a couple months ago. That was my first experience with the cardless craps, California-style craps. And I think like you guys had mentioned, really after a few hands, it almost, you kind of don't even notice it anymore. Payouts are the same. The gameplay is pretty much the same. I had a great time there, and actually I've gotten some offers to go back and may take them up sometime soon. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great start to the year, and love the show. Thanks.
Good. Thanks, Tom. Good. Thanks for the report. Yeah, just to remind listeners, that Golden Dice Challenge at MGM Grand Detroit, it's a side bet that you make, and you get...
A prop bet.
It's a prop bet, exactly. Yeah. It's a bet that you make, and if the shooter makes a certain number of passes, it wins. And the more passes he makes...
Pays off at different odds.
Yeah, right. And a pass can be like a 7, a natural or 11. And it's per shooter. So if they roll like a 2, 3, or 12, that doesn't kill the bet.
Right.
It's just how many passes will a single shooter make before he finally sevens out. So we talked about it before.
So here, Tom got me thinking about something. So rank these, Mark, 1, 2, and 3. Friendliness of the dealers, skill of the dealers, and speed of the game. What's your priorities?
Ooh, okay. Well, boy, but that kind of puts me on the spot because I love a fast game.
Right.
And I like good dealers. I'll tell you, friendliness is going to be number one for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be number one. The speed of the game and how good the dealers are, those kind of go hand in hand.
A little bit.
So I do like a fast game.
Sometimes one dealer can be good and the other dealer on the other side's bad and
I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, just like you listed them. The friendliness of the dealers, the competence of the dealers, how good they are at dealing the game, and the speed of the game. Because if it's a slow game, because we're on a hot roll, I don't mind if it goes slow as long as the dealers are still moving, like boom, boom, boom. It's just that they have a lot to do, but they're doing it, fast like that. So that's how I'd rank them.
Okay, good. We're in agreement.
Okay.
When he's saying that, I was thinking about that and I'm thinking, God, I love a fast game. But I don't know that would be my number one. It would have to be friendliness would be one.
Yeah.
And then competency probably number 2. Because I've been to some fast games, but the dealers aren't very competent.
You know what I mean? I know what you mean. Yeah, that's right. Like we're the only two at the table, so it's fast. But then
but it's like, you didn't pay that right.
Yeah, that's right.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Next call.
Hey guys, this is Lou in Nashville. I'm a new listener to the podcast, but really enjoying it. Frequent Vegas visitor, but also a frequent visitor to Tunica. So I heard a couple of the calls on the show this week and wanted to correct a couple of things. Understandable. Maybe the folks have just visited once or twice, but I'm there once or twice a month for work. So one thing, if you go to Memphis and go to Beale Street, you will not be listening to country music. That'd be over here in Nashville. Beale Street is home of the blues. Also, there's not a Golden Nugget in Tunica, but there is a Gold Strike, which is MGM property. It's right next door to the Horseshoe. So you've got MGM and CET right next door to each other, and they share a large common parking lot, so you can walk between. There's one other CET property there, Caesars, which is Tunica Roadhouse, kind of a dump. If you stay at the Horseshoe, make sure you stay in the tower. The tower rooms are nicer than the low-rise rooms. Also in Tunica, you'll find a Bally's, a Fitzgerald's, a Sam's Town, a Resorts Casino, and Hollywood. So you got all those. Definitely stay in Tunica, go to Memphis from there. It's a beautiful old hotel. They have ducks that play in the fountain. They have a parade through the lobby. Delightful. They can stay there. You guys stay in Tunica. You meet up in Memphis to do some different events. But you won't hear country music. Not on Beale Street. Anyway, enjoying the podcast. Thanks, guys.
Okay, so Lou's call kind of dropped out there, but the hotel that he was talking about with the duck parade is the Peabody in Memphis.
Okay, now what's a duck parade?
Well, so they've got this fountain like in the middle of the lobby.
Right.
And every day they roll out this red carpet like from the outside, and the ducks come in a parade on this red carpet and then jump into the fountain.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It's cute.
The ducks come in and jump in.
I'll show you.
And then they stay in the fountain till...
Well, I don't know. Eventually they have to leave.
And then they have to leave?
I don't know if there's a duck parade out there. Maybe there is.
How do they get the ducks to do that?
I'll show you.
They're
all right?
trained?
Well, I don't think it's hard to train a duck if maybe there's food in the fountain or, they're parched or something. So
I'll tell you, I'm excited about duck parade. And then I'm excited when he said Peabody.
Yeah, like you're thinking, what, Mr. Peabody?
Sherman and Mr. Peabody. Yeah.
I love
Mr.
that.
Peabody. I love Mr. Peabody.
The Wayback Machine. Yeah, I love that too. All right, one final call from Andrew.
Hi there, this is Andrew calling from Seattle. I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on a hypothetical new prop bet that I was thinking of. I play craps at some of the local Indian casinos here in the Seattle area. And I play the don'ts. I play the don'ts probably 20 or 30% of the time. And sometimes when I'm playing the don'ts, I get a little bit bored because all you can really do is bet on, don't pass and don't come. There's really no other good bets to make that don't lose on a 7. So what I was really thinking is if we made or not we, but anybody made a new prop bet, which would be like laying the hard 8 or laying the hard 6, which would essentially be the opposite of making a hard 8 bet. So you would win on an easy 8 or a 7 out, and you would lose on a hard 8. And of course, they wouldn't offer it if it paid 1-9, which is the opposite of the 9-1 normal payout, because then the players would have an advantage. So they would probably offer at 1-10. And I wanted to get your thoughts on if you would make this bet if it had a 0% house edge. I think I probably know what Dr. Mike would say, but I'm really interested to see if Mark would lay that much money for the opportunity to get a 0% house edge bet in. So, yeah, just wanted to hear what your thoughts would be on a prop bet where you could lay the hard 8 or lay the hard 6 if the odds offered were 1-10. Okay, love the show, and I hope to hear from you guys soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.
We've talked about this before.
Right.
There's no way to make a bet at the craps table that the next roll won't be an 11.
Right. Right.
Something like that. And we thought, wouldn't it be fun if you could make all these different kinds of bets? I don't think it would ever really happen, only because I don't think people would bet it.
No, it'd be probably confusing for people.
Well, I mean, maybe it might be. So as far as it practically happening, I can't see it ever practically happening just for that reason, right? People, they wouldn't like playing that way, or it would confuse them. I mean, look at how many people play the don't. They're not that many, or just make lay bets.
Right.
So I don't think there would be a call for it. Now, to his specific question, if there was a way to lay, say, the hard 8.
Right.
And it paid 1-10, so no house edge.
That would be the correct payout?
That would be 1-10 would be the correct payout, right?
All right.
If it were that way, if he's asking me, I would not make that bet. And here's why. First of all, I don't have any edge on that bet.
Right.
And it would just take one hard 8 to come up.
Right.
And then suddenly let's say it's $10. I had to put, $10 out there. Suddenly I'm out $10. Now I've got to win that bet 10 more times just to get my money back.
Right, exactly.
Now I understand if it really paid 1-9, that in the long run I'd make money, and I would do that.
Right.
But, for an even money bet, I just don't want to get stuck. Oh God, he rolled 2 hard 8s in a row.
Right.
And suddenly it's like, I can't make my money back on this bet.
See, that's the same for me with the don't. With the don't pass and the don't come, right? I mean, we saw the other night, there was a guy on the table, he was doing really well on the don't. Mm-hmm. He ended up getting wiped out because as soon as a shooter made like 3 points, he couldn't recover from that.
And he's laying odds.
He laid full odds.
Which is smart, but you're right. When you lose that, it's hard to make it back.
Once he lost 3, it's like, oh my God, he's got to have like 3 immediate 7 outs.
Yeah, to make some of the money back, to make up for a hot roll.
To make up some of the money back.
Yeah.
Because you only get paid, you don't get it paid as much as you lay out there.
Yeah.
So, once you start losing on that, on the don't come, don't pass, it's hard to get back to even.
Yes.
Whereas the corollary to that is on the pass line, you can have 3 immediate 7 out rolls where you lose a little, but then you can have 1 hot roll and get it all back.
Right.
I mean, that's my philosophy.
Your feeling, right?
That's my feeling, right? Sure. I know mathematically that may not, but it's my feeling. Yeah. And it would be the same thing on not betting against a no hard 8.
Well,
I would never bet it just because I'd have a hard time putting $100 out there, hoping to win 10. And then when the hard 8 comes up, it's like, great, now I got to bet that, like you said, 10 more times just to get even.
Right. Yes. Just to get even. Exactly.
Right. And if a hard 8 hit on number 8, then I'm really screwed, right?
And right now, the worst odds that you can make at a craps table on lay bets is 1-2. On a 4 or 10. So, that's the worst is you're going to get half your bet back when it wins.
Right.
Anything more than that, I think it would probably scare players away. And it would scare me away too.
Well, it's a psychological thing too, as much as a mathematical thing.
Absolutely.
It's a psychological thing. Mm-hmm. It's so devastating, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's why I play the pass line and never go over. I mean, I shouldn't say I never have done that, but very rarely. because I only want to make a lay bet when it's in my favor, like we're on the 6th number to the fire.
Yeah, right.
Right. And then I'm like, okay, now I'm going to win either way.
Well, it's kind of like we were talking about the no safety bets. Mike Shackelford, Wizard of Odds, has made these bets at Super Bowls, and they're good bets. The problem is when you lose them, you lose a lot.
Right.
And it's hard to make up for them. You know, we had like 3 out of 4 Super Bowls,
right?
You know, where we had safeties, right? You know, he's getting, but, you know, so even though it might be a good bet, it's hard sometimes to psychologically get past that. Oh my gosh, how am I going to make up my money now?
Yeah. I'll tell you how a safety is going to happen in the Super Bowl.
All right.
Now.
Okay.
It's that stupid, what we were talking about it last time, when they kick off and the player gets it in the end zone, instead of just kneeling.
Yeah.
They decide to run it out. And they get tackled on like the 8-yard line. That's how safeties happen.
That's how safeties happen. Or some guy's not thinking, he catches it in the end zone, comes out, and then steps back in and takes a knee.
Right.
And then thinking, oh, yeah, it'll be just a touchback, and then gets tackled, and then it's a safety. Right.
Yeah. That is the most likely way safeties are going to happen.
Yeah, you might be right.
And it could happen because, God, what is it with players this year trying to run kicks out?
I know. From the very beginning of the season, I'm thinking, what are you doing? I'd love to see the stats overall from this season to see what the average.
Because when the kickoff was further back and the kickers could barely get it to the end zone, then it was fine to run it out.
Yeah.
Right. Because you were getting it on right on the goal line.
Yeah.
Sometimes the 5-yard line.
You only had to get to the 20. Yeah.
Right. And you only had to get to the 20. Now it doesn't make any sense to run that.
All right.
out.
We beat this to death. Let's move on. So our buddy Ed, the same one that made the hard 6 bet for us, he sent us an email a while back asking what we thought the best gambling scenes in movies were. And he provided some examples. And, I started thinking about this, and, we could come up with a list, like here's our top 10 or whatever.
Right.
But then I thought, no, let's not do that. Let's just start a new segment on the show and see how it goes, where we just talk about one of our favorite gambling scenes.
There you go.
From a movie.
All right.
And so I thought what we do for this first installment is talk about the scene in Stripes. That's the comedy from the 80s where Bill Murray and Harold Ramis joined the Army. Funny movie.
Very funny, yeah.
There's a scene where some of the guys are playing poker in the barracks. And John Deal plays a character named Cruiser, who's very naive and has never played poker before.
Right.
And John Candy's character, Ox, is teaching Cruiser the game. So let's take a listen to this scene.
I'm going to fold. Okay. Well, I'm still in. Cruz, how about you?
Maybe I should fold.
Well, let me see. Let me see first. No, not with a hand like that. Come on. Dare me. Go on. Bluff me. Come on.
How much should I bet?
If it were me, I'd bet everything. But that's me. I'm an aggressive gambler. Mr. Vegas. Come on. Go for it.
It's like
Go for it.
devil.
Yes. There we go. I'm in.
What you got?
Well, I got a full house. 3 3s and 2 6s. That's a full house. What have you got? Well, you have
4s. I got an ace.
You got an ace, an 8, and a 7. Well, you lose, you see. If you would have had 4 4s, you would have won. You're getting good at this, aren't you?
Hang of it.
You like it? Isn't this fun? You're pretty good for first time, really.
I love that scene. It's so perfect, John Candy,
Yeah,
right?
it's perfect.
If it were me, I'd bet everything. That's me. I'm Mr. Vegas. Oh my God, I love that.
It's a good role for him, actually.
It's great. And it was before he was well known. Now, people who were from Canada or were familiar with SCTV knew him.
They knew him. Right.
But it's certainly here in America, he was kind of an unknown.
It was one of his first
roles that Americans certainly knew about. It just what a great role. So anyway, if you've got a favorite gambling scene from a movie, let us know. Maybe we'll talk about it on the show. And in fact, Ed sent us some examples too. So we'll start doing this on a regular basis if people like it and if we have time. So what do you think of that?
It'll go the way of our, poker games, home poker
Well,
games.
but I don't know if we're going to run out of these too quick because there are a lot of gambling scenes in movies.
Yeah. You know what I watched the other night?
What's that?
And I don't know if it was on your list, but Viva Las Vegas was on last night.
Oh, it was on last night? Yeah.
Last night. Oh my God. And Margaret.
Yeah, and Margaret's great in that.
Amazing, yeah.
I don't know about the movie.
The movie's kind of weird, but it's Elvis and Aunt Margaret.
Yeah,
I don't know. It gets much
I love
better
that
than
scene.
that.
Where they're at UNLV and they do a dance. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. Hey, let's thank some people for some PayPal donations. First of all, recurring donations from Brian and Sarah. Thanks very much. Also, recurring donation from Zach. Thank you. We got a PayPal donation from Tom. Thanks very much. Also, one from Michael James over at Vegas Bright. He says, my son and I are visiting San Diego. Well, we're flying from Milwaukee to Las Vegas with a stop in San Diego, no plane change. We're going to watch the game at South Point, and I don't think there's a chance that we wouldn't have a great time. Thanks for the great show, and congratulations again on your co-trippy. Thanks, Michael. And finally, a donation from Patrick. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listings showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks. We update those listings every Wednesday using a customized program to search through all the raw American TV data. Just go to our webpage, youcanbetonthat.com, and click on the link at the top that says TV listings. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 951-2-WAGERS. Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. Also, follow us on Twitter at youcanbetonThat. We tweet when we're heading to a casino, and we'd love to meet up with you. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/youcanbetonThat. And finally, head on over to iTunes and write a review on us. When you do, it helps us get new listeners. Mike?
Well, I'm thinking about Viva Las Vegas. You know what's fun to do with that movie? And Lynn and I did this the other night. Count how many casinos you see in the movie that are no longer in existence.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I know.
There's a lot. I mean, I got a big kick out of seeing the Desert Inn.
Mm-hmm,
I was like, remember that? And then there's the Sands, and and
all those. Yeah,
there's a lot. There's some that are still there. Tropicana.
Yeah, and doesn't it take place at the Flamingo?
Flamingo, yes.
Looks completely different.
Looks completely different, but it is the Flamingo is still there.
Yeah.
So there were a few that are still there, but it kind of makes you. I mean, all the casinos that they showed in there were ones I've been to.
Yeah.
But they're not there.
But they're not there anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of nostalgic. That was a fun thing to do. Yeah, and the other thing, I can't remember the movie. It's a recent movie we were watching, and there's a scene in Las Vegas, a chase scene.
Jason Bourne?
It's the Bourne movie.
You're
right.
Okay, yeah.
But did you notice at one point they're like,
that happens all the time.
Oh, it drives me crazy.
I know.
And Lynn's like, well, those casinos are along. Yeah, and it looks like they pull out of one and right into another. I'm like, couldn't they be consistent?
I know.
On that?
They do that all the time, especially in Vegas.
That drives me crazy. Now, they did not do that in... They did not do that in Viva Las Vegas.
Oh, well, yeah, they never really showed them going from one place to another.
No, they just, so you don't know that they're screwing up.
All right, yeah.
I just hate it when they screw up.
I know.
You make a movie that costs millions of dollars.
Yeah.
You could at least be accurate on that.
You're not the only one that drives them crazy. Yeah.
All right, now let's talk about football for 1 second.
Just go through it quickly, please.
Okay, just who's your pick?
Oh, New England, but I don't want New England. I want Atlanta.
Really?
Yes.
New England's favored by 3.
I know, but I'm saying New England, but I want Atlanta.
Okay.
I've spoken.
All right, I think Atlanta. I think the smart money's on Atlanta.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just, Belichick's probably worried about his appearance on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, he might be thinking forward. Yeah, he's thinking past the game.
He's thinking past the game,
yeah,
trying to put a few words together so he can host that.
Yeah. All right. Well, enjoy the game if you folks watch it.
I'm sure they will.
All right. Thanks for listening.